Good morning and welcome to JChats with Bender JCC CEO Josh Bender. Josh's guest today is Heidi Hookman Brodsky, Chair the Bender JCC Board of Directors.
Good morning, Bender JCC community. Welcome back to JChats, our weekly conversation on Wednesdays at 10:30, where we get to shine a light on the leaders in our community who are making it all happen here at Bender JCC. I am privileged to be here this morning with the chair of the Bender JCC board, Heidi Hookman Brodsky. Good morning, Heidi.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for agreeing to sit down with us today and talk a little bit about what it's been like here for you at the Bender JCC as chair of the board. Let's start with your background and how you got involved in the Jewish community. I understand that you learned how to swim at the JCC. So tell us a little bit how you got your start on your journey in the JCC community.
I can't remember the community without the JCC because I grew up in Montgomery County and the JCC was always the beacon on Montrose Road. And my parents took us throughout the years for various programs, swimming, as I told you. I have 3 sisters and the 4 of us all learned to swim at the pool at the JCC. My sisters, of course, being much braver than I and jumping right into the deep end and me kind of treading water in the shallow end. But eventually I did learn to swim at the JCC. And throughout my childhood and adolescence, came in and out of the JCC throughout my whole growing up. So I don't remember the Jewish community without it. And it's, been very important to me and to my family that it be vibrant and strong.
It's amazing, and it really resonates with me because I didn't grow up in Montgomery County. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and the JCC was also, I don't remember life in the Jewish community without it. Also learned how to swim at the JCC. So thanks for sharing that. Wow, 4 of you all learning how to swim at the JCC. Very, very neat. So let's fast forward a little bit and talk a little bit about how you came to get involved in leadership at the Bender JCC.
Like anything else, it wasn't really a plan. I was, it's still in the community. I have 3 daughters and they were attending school across the street at the day school and using the JCC quite a lot to come over, after school for programs, art programs, sports, the teen center, BBYO. So, I came back into the community of the JCC through my children as an adult and had a couple of friends that were then board members who said, you're involved through your kids, you're involved in the day school, would you consider joining the board? And I jumped at the chance. I thought it was a great opportunity to give back to the organization that had been a part of my life for so long. And so I joined the board, and that was, I don't even know how many years ago at this point, I think 11 or 12 years ago. And, just participated in all the different committees that I was asked to be involved in and learned a lot along the way.
Amazing. And, I see our preschool community and our preschool parents here, and I hear so many stories from our members who really found their way into the JCC community as a parent, whether it's in our preschool, in our camp program, Maccabi, and on and on. And, it's so interesting to think about the journey that one takes coming in as a parent, dropping your child off in the morning, or dropping them off at camp and slowly becoming entrenched in the community and ultimately, like on your path, entering into a leadership role. I think all of us, when we think about how we, and I liked how you said, you never plan necessarily to become the chair of a board or to become a board member or to become, to get involved in a leadership capacity. But all of us, I think, could think of an individual or individuals who inspired us, who coached us, who mentored us. And maybe at the time we didn't realize the impact they had on us, but when we reflect back on the journey, we think of those individuals. Is there someone in particular or that you want to share, someone who kind of coached you along the way and inspired you to keep going down the path of leadership?
Sure. I mean, there's more than one person for sure. I mean, I would have to say it starts with my parents, because they were always, they were yes people. You know, if they were asked to lead, if they were asked to chair, if they were asked to be involved, whether it was through the Jewish community organizations or our synagogue or Chabad or my school, both of my parents, you know, always, you know, said yes. They got involved and they participated and they led. So I think, you know, all of us who are inclined to say yes, to take on different roles, you know, we have role models, and for sure my parents in my formative years were those role models. But as an adult, you know, the person actually who asked me to join the board was Lisi Gottdenker, who subsequently became a very good friend of mine. And she was always taking on more and more, and ultimately became the board chair herself. And, you know, when I was sitting in the conference room at the JCC, looking up at all the pictures of the past presidents, board chairs, leaders, I have to say most of them were men. And so looking at the handful of women that were up there, many of whom I know, Roz Jonas and Leslie Israel and Marcy Cohen, and then ultimately Lisi, I was really inspired to, you know, to lead as a woman in the community and to role model for my daughters.
That's amazing. It's amazing. And a couple of weeks ago, you're making me think about the conversation I had with some of our past presidents when I was first coming to the Bender JCC, you know, a couple months ago. And each of them, without being prompted, shared a story about someone who inspired them to get involved on the Bender JCC board. So thank you for sharing that. And it's an important reminder when we're in leadership roles, what our role is in kind of nurturing the next generation of leadership coming up through the pipeline. You know, one of the themes that we've been talking about on JChats, and if you're just joining now, we're here with Heidi Hookman Brodsky, the chair of the Bender JCC board, and we're here with JChats. And you know, one of the themes that we've been talking on JChats about that keeps coming up is, of course, the way the Bender JCC has been able to continue serving the community during this unbelievably challenging year. So I wanted to kind of shift a little bit and talk about, you know, what has it been like to lead the Bender JCC community, to be the chair of the board through a pandemic, through a year unlike any other year in our history?
Yes, I mean, obviously it's been daunting. I will say though that, you know, I'm not leading in a vacuum. We have an incredible staff who really stepped up. You know, our camp director, Phil Liebson, Triva Bastal, and Susan Fisher, Jody Schulemson, all of these people took on way more responsibility, showed up, you know, to make the difference that was needed, to do everything that they could to, you know, make our community feel that we were still here and still here to serve and still trying to find ways through this crazy time and darkness to meet the needs that were actually even more than they had been prior. You know, we took for granted the opportunity to gather and to be a community and to participate. And when that was all taken away, I think it just became even more clear how critically important it is to have a community like this and a place like this. And so I really, I have to say, having those people doing the work that they did made all the difference, not to mention having Federation support, having the support of all of our past presidents, our council of advisors, the Bender family. We're really a community, and everybody jumped in. So it is daunting to be, the board chair during this, but it never really fell on my shoulders alone, and everybody really stepped up.
Yes, it's we're very fortunate to have had such a support system and a village to really support the community, and I think in so many ways, having conversations with colleagues around the country, it's the definition of community has taken on a whole different dimension through the pandemic. And historically, the JCC as a place for gathering in the physical sense, and of course we're still doing that. We're still our fitness center and our pools are still open, and our preschool is open, and we have children who are here all day in our Club J program who are in virtual school, and they're with us during the week. So we're still providing that potential, the physical gathering and bringing together the community, but also looking at how we reach our community beyond the walls of the Bender JCC and through the virtual world and through the connections we're maintaining through the pandemic. So what are the lessons? So I know we're having conversations with the board and with staff, beginning to really hope and dream and continue to be optimistic about a time when we get on the other side of this pandemic. What are some of the lessons you think that we're going to carry with us as we hopefully get through this together?
So I would say really the most difficult moment, and there were many, many challenging and difficult moments and decisions over the past few months, but having to cancel camp last summer, was really one of the most difficult decisions and the most difficult side effects of this horrible pandemic. And, so many families and kids and staff members, counselors rely on this camp so much. So I think I'm very hopeful and optimistic and that we are going to be able to have our camp this summer. And I'm so excited for all of those families to come back. But I would say that the lesson of this is that we need to be resilient. I think we are resilient, but we need to plan. We need to plan for the unimaginable. And so we put together a task force, as you know, of people who are coming up with ways that we can continue to do the work that we do for this community, and we can continue to provide the services to this community that they depend on, that we all depend on, irregardless of whether we're in a pandemic or not. And if that means that it's a hybrid of virtual and in person, or if that means we're coming up with new and better ways to get our programming out to the community when they cannot come to us physically, which I hope we will never be in that situation again, but we're really learning that we have to be able to be flexible, and we have to be resilient and creative, and we have to plan. And so I would say that in a strange way is the opportunity and the benefit of what we've been through, is that we're going to be stronger going forward because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And along those lines, it's very exciting. We're about to kick off the application process for camp. Our team here is working so hard, planning for the season, talking with families, looking at all the ways we need to plan for the summer in terms of health considerations. And there's such optimism and excitement about returning to Camp JCC. And
it'll be a great day.
Can you imagine what a celebration that day is going to be? So anyone listening and watching, stay tuned for camp applications to open up any day now. And we are planning for a camp season, and we can't wait to see it come to fruition this summer. So we're not the only ones who have benefited from your wisdom as a leader in the Jewish community, and we're not the only ones who have recognized it. I understand in 2019 you received the Sandra D. Bender Community Leadership Award at JWI's Jewish Women International's 2019 Woman to Watch. I wanted to spend a minute on that. I mean, that's a really prestigious award. You mentioned the Benders just a few moments ago, so the connection there is really special. Tell us, what was it like to receive that award and to stand up there and accept it?
Well, you said it. I mean, receiving an award that was named for Sandra D. Bender, who was truly an amazing leader in our community, and a matriarch of a family that continues to give in all sorts of ways to our community. So that was definitely an honor. It was also an honor because Meredith Jacobs, who is a member of our board, had just taken on the role of CEO of Jewish Women International, which, it's just all about women taking on leadership roles, and seeing her take that on was really inspiring as well. And again, it's a sisterhood, right? It's a lot of other women who I admire and respect, who are all playing their part and giving back and leading and inspiring. So it was high. It was a really terrific day. It was an amazing opportunity. It was just great to have my family and my daughters there cheering me on. And yeah, I was really moved.
It's an amazing experience. I had a privilege a couple of years ago of being there to a colleague who was one of the women to watch. And it really is inspiring to see the impact that so many women are having on the Jewish community. And you're right there. You're right there. So as we think about the future moving forward, what are some of your hopes, dreams? What are you thinking about in terms of the future of the JCC? Tell us what your dreams are.
Well, I'm super optimistic, in large part, Josh, because of you. I'm so happy that you took on this role at this time. Our community is really fortunate. I will tell the community out there who's listening, watching, that Josh has been with us for a short while, but has already really started to make a huge difference in what we're going to be able to offer going forward. I just think the sky's the limit for the JCC, and I don't think anyone is ever going to take gathering for granted again. And yes, our preschool is open, and our fitness center and our pool and all those things that you mentioned, and we will open camp, and it's really exciting. But I look forward to the moment when I can be in the lobby having a cup of coffee at the new coffee bar that opened just before the pandemic, and see the people selling the challah, and see the kids running through the hall, and seeing friends and staff members, and just the hubbub that is normally a day-to-day occurrence at the JCC. I look forward to being able to attend a board meeting in person and see my friends and colleagues. Really, I just look forward to the moment when this is behind us and we can resume our role and, continue on for the younger people and the older people and my age people and the whole community. Really, I'm excited for us to get our momentum again.
Absolutely. And, we're coming up on we're almost out of time for our JChat. And I wanted to, before we conclude, I wanted to actually just take a moment to thank you for your leadership. And through this crazy year that we've been through as a community and as a nation and the world, of course, going through a pandemic. And I want to thank you for the support you're giving me in the beginning of my time at the Bender JCC, our daily texts and phone calls, emails, and you're always available to me, helping to support me during the beginning of my onboarding at the Bender JCC. So thank you for your years of leadership at the Bender JCC and for carrying us through this very difficult time. Thank you so much for being with me today and joining me for JChats.
Thank you, Josh. Those were nice things to say. And thank you for taking the helm. It's going to be a great future for our JCC. And I'm really looking forward to being a part of it and also to passing on the baton.
Yes, for sure. We got some new leaders coming up. And so if you're watching, today we've been with Heidi Hookman Brodsky, the chair of the Bender JCC board. JChats takes place every Wednesday at 10:30. We have some very exciting guests coming up in the coming weeks. Stay tuned on our Facebook page for more information. Thank you again, Heidi, for joining us today. And to all of you, be well, stay safe, be healthy.